Yes, welcome again. You know, today is one day. Okay, I think that was yesterday when you are allowed to behave like a child. You can laugh anyhow. Don't control it. You can even say, I'll tell my mommy for you. Don't control it. But I think today is already late. Abi?
It's still in the season.
It's still in the season.
Like my mom won't beat you today if you commit any error. You just tell you today is your Christmas. It's Children's Day. After this event, we
Your
get
mom
back to
was
the
a teacher.
No, she wasn't. But I think she has this teaching spirit in her.
There is no Christmas in my house. When you deserve it, you get it with
Christmas
the
days are some certain days we are off from beating.
Wow.
After then, if you mess up again, we get back to routine.
Exactly.
Okay, so you'll be wondering, what are we talking about? Is it still Christmas? Is it still Children's Day? Well, it's not, but it's still in the spirit of Children's Day. Now, something has been trending. Not that the topic is trending, no, but social media has turned the world into a global village. And whether we like it or not, children are part of that global village.
Exactly.
There was the Christianland, Abi?
Chrisland.
Chrisland saga. It was a social media saga. Then we had, before Chrisland, we had the one of the boy, the boy that was molested. All these things. In fact, we've been seeing cases of children trending, sometimes trending for the wrong reasons, sometimes trending for the right reason. Whether we like it or not, these children are being exposed to social media. So today we're talking about it.
Yes. We want to look at social media and child development. How does social media affect child development, impede or help a child to be better? We want to also ask the basic question, when is the right time to introduce a child to social media?
Yes, and our guest this morning, David, I think you should start because it's ladies and gentlemen.
The first guest we have this morning is Mrs. Charity Ezakunne. She's a trainer of female children. She's been involved in this art, so she knows, she talks to them all the time. She's also a counselor, as well as the State Commissioner of Girls Guide here in Anambra State. Girl Guides here in Anambra State. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Guys.
Yes.
Girl Guides.
Girl
yes.
guys.
Okay, the S is with the guy.
Yes.
Okay.
You know this error. People commit it a lot, and at times you won't even know, especially with another group that confuses me. All right. Thank you and welcome to the program.
Thank you, my dear.
And then we also have a teacher. Once you're a teacher, I like to believe you're also a counselor. Yes. So we have a teacher and a counselor. Talk about Gabriel Odige. Mr. Gabriel, you're welcome to the
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So now, before we talk about child social media, please, I would like to know, as a teacher and also as somebody that deals with children, how was your Children's Day celebration? Ma, let's start with you. Did you do anything special? Did you go out? Was there anything special or you were just at home?
Yesterday was our day. How do you expect me to be at home?
That's why I asked. Yeah, because yesterday I didn't really notice much uniform like in the old days where you see a lot of people in uniform.
Yes.
So that's why I asked.
What happened these days? Yesterday, most of the schools, especially the private schools and the federal, they refused to allow their children to come out. But some of the students, the state schools, allowed them to come out. So the few that came out yesterday, they really enjoyed themselves. You know, as a Children's Day, you cannot just bring them out and dance with them. After dancing with them, you tell them, okay, bye.
Go home and eat.
You know it's not possible. You know it's not possible. Yeah. Rice must be there, drinks must be there, and other ones. And I know we danced a lot yesterday. We called somebody, a mini DJ that gave us the
vibes.
The vibes. And one of them said, Mommy, I don't know that you can dance. So I said, today is Children's Day. So let all of us
Let
boogie
us
it.
release the child in us.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Dige, I'm happy I'm happy I asked her first because she pointed out something that most private schools exempted themselves from the fund. So you are part of a private organization. So how was Children's Day? Were you people part of this fund she was talking about, or you carved your own niche?
No, we were part of it. You know, initially we got the news that there was going to be a sit-at-home.
Okay.
That was on Thursday. So I think the directive came from the Association of Private School Owners that we do the Children's Day in school, possibly due to security reasons. So, but when we got the information that the sit-at-home has been cancelled, is no longer happening, my school, precisely, the children went to Ekweme Square, you know, and I know they had fun. Though we had a meeting in school, I wasn't there, you know, but from what they came back with, they came third.
Wow.
The match passed, and it was really exciting. You could see it on their faces that they had fun, you know. So
okay, let's get into the topic of discussion for the day: social media and child development. Let's talk a little bit about child development. What are those things that help a child grow, help a child get better, help a child, those things that the society can provide that will allow children to grow and become better members of society tomorrow? Let me start with you again.
There are many of them. You said in the society. Here, well, in my school, let me use my school, Federal Government College, Mise. There we have a lot of things, many things that make them to be happy, like
I want to look at like the major factors, like the
societal,
like say background, environment, things,
okay,
like the bigger
from
picture.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yes, so that people from other schools can relate.
Relates, okay. That is background, both from home and
Yes,
from...
yes.
Okay. You know, the way things are going now, it's not every home that have all those things that the children need. There are the
which
middle
is why
class.
talking about it might help, right?
The middle class,
Okay.
the
poor one.
The poor ones. Most of the times I call them LIE, L-I-E, low income earners.
Okay.
So, you know, you can't expect somebody that is from a rich family to behave like the one that is from a poor family.
Okay.
Let me cite an example of a boy that swept Obete some time ago that trended around February. The boy is angered to go to school, but unfortunately, the parents, the mother in particular, does not have money. So one morning, one early morning, he said, let me go and sweep Obete market. Maybe if I get there, somebody will give me money to complete my primary 6 fees. When he got there, somebody promised to give him, 500 naira. So the boy swept many places, even the gutter. In the end, he gave him 100 naira. The boy started crying. So people around were like, what's wrong? They asked him, he told them what happened. So they now asked the man, why did you promise him and you did not do it? In fact, that thing brought a favor to the family because somebody owned up to train that boy till university level. So, such case, because of what he did single-handedly in order to be educated, it has made him to trend. But those of them that come from a rich family, they know that everything is provided in abundance for them. Even sometimes there are some that you will give them, they will tell you no.
My mommy said she should not collect.
Yes, I should not collect. Sorry, I thought I put this.
Yeah.
So, let me use an example of my students. There was a type of provision the parents bought for him. The boy bluntly refused to accept that provision. So when I asked him, why did you refuse to accept this type of provision? He said no, that this is not the type of provision.
He's used to.
Yes. So, but somebody that, a child that is from a poor background, will even be happy that, the parents can provide this for them. So that is the problem, part of the problem. So those of them from a rich family, you know, they are more civilized. They come out, you know, they are even bold, and they speak out whatever they want. But those of them from the poor background, you see them, they said, provided whatever, anything goes. That's
okay,
anything goes.
All right, so Mr. Gabriel, what's your opinion? Things that help develop a child.
Okay, let's start from the home, because every child was born in a home. Of course, the first thing is the child has the right to quality education. So that's a place of awareness for the parents. You know, so a child should be given the right to quality education. So when we talk about quality education, it doesn't have anything to do with the kind of school you go to. So parents, in the first place, should try as much as possible to get their children aware of the right things to know within the home before they are exposed externally to possibly go to school. And two, what else do we need for child's development? Society, security. The child is leaving the home. Is the government aware that children go to school? So we need to provide an enabling environment, you know, for children to develop, because that helps a lot. Three, let me look at it from this angle again, infrastructures. Okay. You know, because as a child develops physically, he also develops internally. You know, so do we have the right infrastructure to get children to develop? For example, I'll take this example. The school I work in now, we have this thing we do when children come, because children learn by playway. So early in the morning, we have structures in place where you get the children out. They try to have some kind of fun, you know, to get them set for the day's learning. You know, so
they play before the
yes, just very, very, very short time to get them ready and set psychologically, physically ready. A lot of children leave the house, possibly mommy spanked you in the morning or something, so they are not ready for learning that day. So you must make the environment must be made in such a way that conducive, not just the external environment, you know, internally too, that the child is ready to learn. For the day.
Oh, okay. I'd like to ask this question. You know, you spoke about a child development from the home. That was the first thing you spoke about. That was the first thing you spoke about. But then I would argue, and some other people would argue, if you look at a child, especially in today's society and with the kind of curriculum we see in schools, both private and public schools, you notice that a child spends more time in the school than at home. Yeah. A child leaves the home sometimes 7. Yes. Sometimes they are coming back.
He gets to wait for the bus at least by 7.
That's what I'm saying.
30.
Okay, let me just say, by 6, the child psychologically is no more even in the home.
Yes. Exactly.
Preparing to leave the home.
Yes.
Now, coming back, sometimes they come back around 6. Sometimes they come back around 4.
Yes.
I've seen people who come back around 6. I've seen children who come back. Sometimes, let me say, if the child is not so bright, after class, he's given an extra class. So now this child comes back. The only time they get to spend home is just a few hours, then they go to sleep. So now my question is, when you see a child that you feel this child is not, I'm not getting it, especially with the Christland child, or maybe you see a child that is doing something, going astray, who do we blame? Considering this child spends more time with the teacher. You're smiling, maybe you give me the answer. Considering this child spends more time with the, why I'm bringing this question first, because I know David will bring up the social media question. Because if there is another place the child spends more time in, is the electronics. So, but I know that this school first, because I don't think that a child have access to some of these electronics while they are in class.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm asking. When a child is going astray, who do we blame? The teacher that the parents paid money for you to take care of the child for so long period of time, or the parents that hardly get to see their child because of the curriculum of the school?
I won't, we will try to create a balance.
Please balance.
Yes. I won't say you blame the child or you blame the teacher.
Oh no, we're not blaming the child.
Sorry, blame the parents or
Okay.
blame the teacher for that child going astray. We'll try to create a balance. Why do I say so? In school, we do tell the parents that we are in a partnership now. Okay? We partner together. Now, what do we do specifically as teachers in school? We are responsible for training this child holistically, spiritually, academically, social development, emotional development, and aesthetics, physical development. Now, look at where I said we have partnership. If a child comes to school, an average child spends 9 hours with us in school. That's 45 hours in a week with us as teachers. Now, we try to teach the child academics, morals. Now, look at where the parents now come in. Whatever you tell a child, the child goes back home, has another form of relationship that is outside the relationship he has with a teacher. Now, we try to educate the parents to follow through or follow up what we've done in school. So that's where the partnership comes in. If we teach children to pray in school, and we tell them that prayer is a means of talking to God, God answers prayers. And they go back home and they don't have any form of prayers in school. You see, there is now a disconnect. The child has an information in school, he has a different information or experience at home, so now he's confused in life. He does not have a direction that is formidable from the two sides. Now, if I teach a child that 1 + 1 is 2, and he goes back home and he's supposed to do his homework, and mommy is not there to help him.
Or mommy says 1 + 1
is now 3 or 4. The child is confused. So there is no balance. So now we can't really say we blame the parent, or I think it's a partnership. So parents should learn to know that whatever we do in school, it's exposing the child to the necessary educational needs, which is our job as professionals. But when they get back home, they have a relationship, child to parent relationship, it is more cordial. I don't know if you understand. That relationship is more formidable. There's blood in that relationship. The child tends to trust the parents more. And don't forget that the child has a limited time or span to spend with that teacher. If I teach a child that is in primary 1, in the next 1 year, the child is moving to meet a different personality. So, but this child comes back home, he's going to spend the rest of his life with his parents, except maybe marriage at age 25 to 30, he leaves the parents. So the parents, for me, I think more of the responsibility of training a child to be good in the future lies on the parents more.
Okay, let's, you might still want to say something here,
Yeah,
but...
I wanted her to look, sorry.
Yes, go on.
I wanted her to look at it from another angle. You raised an issue of it has to be a balance. So now I want to ask you as a parent, at what point can you look at your child and say, nah, this school is not giving me what I'm looking for? At what point can you look at a child and say, this child, this school I'm paying this child, I am not seeing it in this child, let me change this school. And then you, a teacher, at what point do you look at a child and you say, these parents, they're not really doing what they're supposed to do, maybe I should talk to them? Does it ever get to that point?
Yes,
Okay.
in a way. Because just as my partner has just said, as a parent, most of the times when these children come to school, there are some notions parents have already instilled in them, especially about teachers. Sometimes you are a colleague. Anyway, maybe because you're in private school, you may not understand what I'm trying to say. Because sometimes even...
Go on. I think I know where you're going from. We went to school.
Yes. So some of we parents, we say, after the lesson from school, just as he said, that when a teacher tells a child, 1 + 1 is 2, the parents will now turn towards what the teacher has already said, especially in morals. Let me put it that way, in morals.
Okay.
Some of them will tell the children, don't mind that teacher.
Is she married?
Is he married? She's a stupid woman, or she's a stupid lady or man. How much are they paying her that she should be saying all these things that she's saying? You know, it will now make that child, whatever the teacher is trying to put in him or her, will not really enter because of that, what he has already from home.
All right. Let's get into the issue of social media. These backgrounds we provided will now help us to understand how social media influence, both from school and at home, get to begin to influence the child, impede or hinder, help a child's growth. Now, the question I want to ask, when is the right time to introduce a child to social media? Most of us will say, or to phones, because when you get, some of us will say, children use phones for academics,
yes.
Allow them use. Some will say, don't allow them use. Some will say, parent guardians, parents should monitor. But don't go for the phone. These children are far ahead than the parents or even the teachers when it comes to handling smartphones. So when is the right time to introduce these kids to social media? Like you mentioned, there have been cases of social media. If you enter Instagram also, you see several accounts that are for children, and they have huge followers. Twitter is even worse. So some of these things happen, and you wonder, the kind of contents that come out from these pages that are claimed to be owned by children, how does it happen? So when is the best time?
You know, I want your phone, let me watch cartoon. And she was like, no, go and sleep. Sure. The family picture, and was putting the phone in front of her own picture, trying to unlock the phone with her face. Because the child already knows that all the auntie had to do was look at the phone to open. So she went to the frame and was, that's to tell you, that's the sense of a 5-year-old child. Yes. So at this point now, at what point will you introduce the child to the phone and leave the child with the phone? Okay, I think maybe I should ask you because you're in a private school, so you're more used to children.
To children, yes. I deliberated over this topic. It's a very interesting one. And yesterday, I had to do a little bit of research, even this morning, you know. And the truth is, let me start with Facebook. Okay. I saw some statistics in Facebook. Like, for example, you have about 27,600 or 27,600,000 users. That's huge. Facebook in Nigeria. So I tried to do some questioning on Facebook. Now I realized that Facebook has, you know, usage laws. Now you are not eligible to register an account on Facebook if you are less than 13. And that was a good one. A good one. You know, we see the Western world as okay, they go excess and all that, and that was a nice one. That gave me a little bit of something, a background to talk about. So I tried this morning to register an account, and I put ages less than 13. Actually, it couldn't register. Okay. And I went further to see that you could even sue an adult for you register someone below the age of 13. I was trying to get, you know, this is personal opinion. You can't say this age is right, but let's look at from where I'm coming from. Now, if you don't know the use of something, you abuse it. Yeah. What are phones meant to be used for? Communication. Now, in my curriculum in school, actually we expose children to know, to be aware of the use of a smartphone, not just a smartphone, computers, you know, what do we use it for? Communication, because there are topics that come into your ICT learning that you have to expose the children. Awareness. Okay. Just to be aware. They can identify, yes, a phone, They are aware the uses of a phone. Sometimes you have to bring it physically for them to see. You open, they can see some apps. Like, for example, I work in a private school, primary. There are topics that come into our ICT where the children are even exposed to know how the internet works, how to create a blog, you know, at that level. But you know, at that level, learning must be segmented. So at that level, they only can identify and know, they are aware that this can aid your development in future, not now. You know what it is, you know how it is used. But see where the difference is. A child cannot be allowed to own and use personally. So that's the difference. So the curriculum in school allows the child to be aware. He can see
and learn how to
use it. Know the benefits, understand, of using the phone. Let me come to social media. Now, he talked about content. Now, we know that social media in itself, it has to do with applications that help us connect. You create content, you put, but there's a lot of content now on social media that is difficult to decide or restrict a child from knowing what to view on social media content. It's very, very difficult. So that's why I come back to what I said. Now, for me, I would say a child should not own a phone. I'm using that word, own, until the child is 18, maybe 17, 18. Let's look at the age the child leaves secondary school. If we check social media, that's the argument now. Some parents will say, my child cannot own a phone until the child leaves secondary school. And I want to argue in the positive direction that there are things to back up that decision.
Okay, sorry, because of time,
okay.
Let me get it into. I think this topic
maybe we'll have a part two. Yes. With the same team.
With the same team.
We'll have a part.
Comment from your own angle. At what point is it when you see that your child is getting into what you're teaching him or her, or you use age or timeline?
Just as my colleagues say, to me, I believe that the actual time for a child to own a phone is when that child has completed his or her secondary school career. By that time, he or she has already known
the
good and the bad in that phone. Then as a parent, you also guide him or her, direct him, though these days, even in my school, whenever you keep your phone, there was a day one of them asked me, Ma, please, can I use your phone to make call? I'm in a difficult situation. I gave the boy the phone. I was talking with somebody. Before I knew it, I don't know whether he made the call or not. Before I knew it, he has already entered where I didn't expect him to enter. This is a boy in JS1, Abi JS2. At least his age bracket may be between 12 and 13. So he has, in fact, I was mad with him, watching different pictures. Wow. And since after that, all those pictures he created in that phone has been coming into my, if I delete, it will still come back. So that is what the social media has done in their lives. So, but if, just as he said that, they use phone to teach them. Actually, in my school, the ICT, they also use phone. They use computer to teach them. But I believe that
they are not allowed to.
They are not allowed. But most of the times, you see parents. There was one boy, we seized his phone, a phone of 200 and something thousand naira. Wow. A parent gave to the child. And in his presence there, we called the mother. The phone was destroyed. So,
a secondary school child using 200.
I am telling you that this is what some of the parents, especially the rich ones, are doing. That is wrong.
We'll still come back to this topic, but because of time, we're going to call it a pause here. It's not really like an end, it's a pause. We'll still get back to this topic subsequently in the future, but we want to really thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a rich chat, and it's been a very, 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 educating one and entertaining too. I really enjoyed the conversation. So I want to thank you, Mrs. Charity Ezeakunne, female child trainer and counselor. Thanks for coming on the weekend.
Thank you, my dear.
She's also a teacher.
She's also a teacher and a parent. So. And then also you too, Mr. Gabriel Odigie, a teacher too, and a counselor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank
Please,
you.
I hope in the future when we continue this conversation, you do grant us. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, so David, do you have anything to say before we go to
Let's just move over to our breakfast news studio.